Hi, this is Catherine Cook. This is Bridget, my subject, and we are performing the Astrand cycle test to predict Bridget's VO2 max based on her submax heart rate values. So Bridget has been warming up for almost 3 minutes now, and she's soon going to get bumped up to 100 watts. She's at 25 right now. I'm bumping her up to 100 watts based on her fitness level, which is high. She's very active. We're trying to keep her within 50 to 60 RPM. So I'm going to go and bump her up right now to 100, and this is what she will be at for the remainder of the test. So I measured Bridget's baseline values. Her resting heart rate was 62. Her resting blood pressure was 114/64, and her RPE was 6. We also talked about what RPE is, and that is this scale right here. So we talked about how 6 means you're not really exerting yourself, and then 20 is your maximal exertion. So she will give me those values as well when we measure her values at 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and 6 minutes. So we're about a minute in right now to the test. We have 1 more minute until I'll measure her for the first time. The purpose of doing this test, like I said, is to calculate a VO2 max from equations based on her submax values. We will try to get Bridget into her submax heart rate range, which is 60 to 85% of her max. For Bridget at 24, that's 114 to 162 beats per minute. So hopefully she gets there and we can keep her there and then use those values to calculate her VO2 max. So we are almost at 2 minutes here. I'm gonna start getting ready to measure her values. One other thing I wanna mention is that we talked all about the test before this. We got the seat height measured right up to her greater trochanter here, so her knees are slightly bent, and nothing, and we won't have any extraneous variables messing up our test here. So I'll go ahead and do her heart rate first here. All right, so at 2 minutes, Bridget's heart rate is 110, which is almost in that submax value that we want it to be, so hopefully by minute 5 it will be there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get her blood pressure. So if you'll stick your arm on mine here. So her blood pressure was about 130/70, and that's good. We like those increases there. And then Bridget, what is your RPE?
I'd say about a 12.
About a 12, all right. So I'll write those down. So like I said, those values are great. We expect them to increase from baseline because you're working hard here. And I expect them to increase a little bit more as time goes on to get you into that submax range, where we will keep you for just another minute, and we'll make sure from minutes 5 to 6 you stay in that submax range, because this is a steady state test, so we want you to stay steady. And then at 6 minutes, if we determine that it stayed the same, we will go ahead and terminate the test, and you will cool down for about 3 minutes, and I'll measure your vitals again at the end there just to make sure everything's decreasing as it should.
Okay. And what does it mean to stay steady?
To stay steady, so like I said, your heart rate range is you're supposed to be from 114 to 162. So once you get in there, we want to keep you in that range. So let's say your heart rate was 120 at minute 5, and then 120 again at minute 6. That's kind of what we want to see. We want you to be steady right there.
So how, like, if the heart rate changes by 10 beats per minute, is that okay?
It has to be within 5, so we'll unfortunately have to keep the test going, so try your best not to get your heart rate up too much, and that was that 1 minute there. So yeah, we are coming upon minute 5 here, so I'll go ahead and get her heart rate, blood pressure, and RPE again. Let's go ahead and get your heart rate first here. So like I predicted there, it was about 120 for your heart rate at minute 5.
Okay.
And then we'll grab your blood pressure. You can come up on my arm here. That was about 140 over 70, so you've increased well again there.
Okay.
And let's take a look at this RPE scale. What are you thinking for your minute 5 value?
13.
13, so you've increased a little bit there, which makes sense because your heart rate's increased. All right, and that took about a minute, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab your heart rate again here. Let's see if it's changed. All right, great. We're still right at 120, so that means you are in steady state of exercise. Just for good keeping, what's your RP at minute 6?
13.
13 again. Awesome. So since we are in steady state from minutes 5 to 6, we can go ahead and cool you down from 100 watts to 25 watts here. And you will stay here for about 3 minutes, and then I'll get your vitals at the end just to make sure everything's decreased as it should. And like I mentioned before, we're going to use these values to calculate your VO2 max from the Submax test.
Awesome.
All right, and that's about it.